All right, welcome to the Good Rookies podcast. My name is Fahim.
And my name is Nelly J, y'all. And we are Good Rookies.
That's right.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Good Tuesday. And guess what? It's episode 58.
58. Let's get it.
We're almost at 60.
That's right.
So, y'all, we are so excited for this episode because we got another pod brother on this app. So Fahim, please introduce who we got.
That's right. It's a podcast family affair, this episode right now. So we'll definitely be able to touch upon a little bit more when it comes to For the Culture. He's putting in work and we want to recognize that. But let's welcome Casino Rino to the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Rino. That's right.
What's up, Rino? How you doing, man?
I'm very good. I'm happy, and I'm ready to talk sports today. There's a lot going on. Football's back, so I'm ready to talk
Look at
sports.
You. He has his tea. He has his cup ready, guys. You know he's down for it. So Rino,
podcasting time.
So Rino, we're definitely going to highlight more of what you do on your own podcast. But before we get into the episode, I've been seeing this question asked all over social media, and I have to ask you because you're in depth in these type of discussions. So what's your thoughts on this whole Michael Jackson versus Drake debate? Like, why are they doing this? Like, do you think it's just Americans trying to, or is it the media? Like, what's up with that? Please share.
I think every era has someone that is special. Like, for example, like when we were coming up, you had Jordan, you know what I mean? Like Jordan was just that guy. And then like for the kids coming up now, LeBron is that guy, you know what I mean? So it's like there's always going to be those comparisons made. It's just like with hip hop and the golden era, like people will always bring up their top five. Like, is Biggie still there? Is Tupac still there? And is your list even valid if they're not there? You know what I mean? So I believe it's something that comes with the territory. That just lets us know that Drake he's hit that level that they're having that conversation now. Because 5 years ago, we would never have this conversation.
And the fact that Drake didn't have to go, you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy's just rapping enough, like 1-2 step and Tootsie Roll and one dance. Like, he has his own lane that he's created, right? But people are comparing him to Michael. So I think it's a compliment. Your thoughts, Fahim, on this whole Michael Jackson comparison to Drake? Like, is it necessary?
No, I don't think it's necessary. But I do think, much like what Rino just mentioned in regards to generations, Michael had his generation, LeBron has generation. I have to say Drake for this generation, if we're talking an equivalent, I can't think of anyone in this generation right now who would be Michael Jackson-esque, and where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, the numbers make it an interesting discussion, but I'll just leave it at that. I do think that definitely we're talking Michael Jackson. It's another tier, I think, and I don't know if Drake is there. But it's an interesting discussion for sure.
Well, what's funny is that Drake doesn't think he's as like he doesn't call himself the GOAT. He will never say he's the GOAT, Drake, in regards to Michael Jackson. So I just think that, people are uber Drake fans, like the Bron sexuals, Drake sexuals, I guess. And every era has these, right? Like, I'm a Jordan sexual, I'm not gonna lie. So that's just how it is. Like Rino said, every generation has those people that you have to compare because they're doing such amazing things. Drake was 9 out of 10. That's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? So it did spark that discussion, but I think a lot of people are trying to like hate on Drake now because of the guys. It's okay to like Michael and Drake. It's okay, guys. You don't have to hate both. So I think it's cool. It's good to have a Canadian up in that realm because Drake is the only Canadian. Like Drake is our Canadian Michael Jackson. Like, to be honest, you know what I'm saying? And we're in Canada, so y'all Americans, y'all could fight on that, but we good. We got Drake.
One other thing we talked about Americans, Canadians. in the UK, remember, Beatlemania was a real thing. If you look at the footage of
No.
what the Beatles did in their time, like someone in the older generation could bring that up also. So, like I said, this is a really interesting conversation, but I'm not willing to go there. Enough respect to Drake, though.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, no, Drake, and again, what Michael was doing, like, first of all, until Drake gets someone fainting at a concert, a grown man, until that happens, Drake is
Yep.
Drake. But I don't know anyone who's ever made someone faint, like grown men faint at concerts. So Michael was his own phenom, but we can also appreciate Drake and say he's doing amazing things. But Michael was a different level. So yeah, I think we're on the same page. Okay, cool. All right, Fahim, let's get to some hot topics.
All right. So since we're actually just talking about like goats of their realm, Tom Brady. First of all, for what he's doing at his age right now, we're very early in the NFL season. Incredible of what he's doing for his age in these seasons. But he did make some a comment, which I think we should really discuss in regards to, he's saying defensive players are being penalized for offensive moves. And how we preface it was he's talking about, defensive linemen will come to him and make a legit play. But because we are so much concerned about headshots and just the player safety, defensive players are being penalized for moves that maybe years ago would have been clean and legal. I just want to get your thoughts on that, guys.
I'll have Reno go first.
Okay, well, I look at it like this. Like, for me, I played football when I was younger. So when you're playing that high safety and that corner is running a post, that receiver is running a post, and that quarterback lobs it up there and puts the receiver in a position where it's bound to be a catastrophic hit. I feel like you cannot put the onus on the defensive player. So I am with Tom on that, because there's certain, like, you have to think about the trajectory of throwing that ball, and then this receiver's running and I'm running here at full speed. And then as he's moving, I'm supposed to stop on the drop of a dime and be able to maneuver in a way where our heads don't come in contact. I don't lead forward in a certain way. It's just sometimes impossible. And quarterbacks put receivers in those positions sometimes. Like, they'll throw the ball out into the flat and a corner goes down like Jalen Ramsey and blows somebody up, right? So I definitely agree with Tom, but we also have to be cautious because there's been a lot of injuries and a lot of, things that have been going on, and the head trauma. So there definitely needs to be a common ground, but these defensive players can't really play defense. You're not seeing hits like Ed Reed and Palomalu and Ray Lewis were doing anymore.
Listen,
we don't see that. We don't see that anymore.
Right.
And to me, it's ruining football for me. The reason why I started watching football, I didn't start watching football because of the offensive plays. Like, I didn't care about the wide receivers, the tight. I didn't care. I watched football to see defenders hit people. That's why I watched it. In high school, no, I'm being honest, guys. My favorite, like, my top players were not receivers. They were like I said, like Ray Lewis. I wanted him to hit people. That's why I watched him. That's what I watched. Yep. Like, I watched for hits, not for pretty catches. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the NBA became pretty. Now the NFL trying to be pretty. Like, I can't stand it, but I get it. It is CTE and things are out there. But I just think that as a defensive player, if they can't hit, just play flag football. At this point, why are we playing tackle football? It's just not fair. On top of that, Tom Brady is accurate. Quarterbacks, your job is to protect your receivers. You can't be making these passes in a way that's going to hurt them. Because again, if we're slanting over, you're going to pass the ball over here so he tilts back to catch the ball, and then he gets hit by someone else. Come on, guys. And so the onus is on the quarterback, as well as the receiver. But I would say as well, on top of that, for a defensive player, because I love playing defense when I played football, I just think that at full speed is hard to stop. It's hard to stop because remember, in your mind, I want to come at you. So if you're catching the ball in front of me and the quarterback throws it in an awkward angle and I happen to just be coming at full speed, I'm the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the refs have to be a bit more honest and say, listen, he was running at this speed. He couldn't stop. It wasn't because some hits are intentional. We've seen them. But but those are less. I mean, they're not as popular as the ones that are intentional hits. So I think when refs are refereeing the game, they have to kind of discuss, was that intentional or unintentional? And you can tell by the defender's speed and how he was running towards that receiver, because it's just not, it's not black and white. So I do agree with them. I do.
I'm kind of on, okay. So you both make great points, right? Mm-hmm. My main concern is, since we've had the CTE situation coming out, studies proven, and we're seeing the results of retired players doing testing, and it's a real thing. It's not just some kind of taboo thing that we thought earlier. For defensive players, so growing up, I was the opposite. I was a QB guy. Like, I love watching receivers and quarterbacks. I could not care very much about defensive players at all. Now, in saying that, I'm just finding nowadays the helmet-to-helmet contact that I'm seeing, it's scary. When I think of rugby, for instance, rugby has no equipment. They hit hard, but the reason why you're not having the same type of injuries with rugby is, I think in the NFL, because they have all this equipment on, people can be reckless. You know what I'm saying? It's like, not like rugby where you don't, like rugby, there's tackles that are made because the defender who's tackling, in his mind, he knows the kind of force he can use and how he can tackle. When you're protected by helmets and pads and everything, I just think right now it's just a reckless time right now. And I think you have to protect players.
But not anymore though, Fahim. Have you watched games this year? It hasn't been that many hits. Like, I'm telling you, there hasn't. Reno, like the first 2 weeks of the NFL, have you seen that many like crazy hits?
I'll be honest, I haven't, but I actually wanted to just kind of ask something to both of you guys. Do we have the same energy with boxing?
Exactly.
Like there was a young lady that just passed away boxing the other day.
And it's true. Talk about it.
She took us a couple of hits, and there's now questioning if she should have been medically cleared and things of that nature. But people die boxing.
Yeah,
right.
Like literally, trauma. You know what I mean? And I don't think we have the same energy towards boxing, because I think there's this thing where we just immediately look at it like this is just a vicious sport, like the UFC, boxing. We look at it as like this is just animalistic behavior, right? But I think in many ways you got to kind of look at football like that. These are men that signed up for this. They know the dangers of this. They know there's a risk with this. You take that chance, you go in across the field, the middle of the field, and you got Ed Reed there or Sean Taylor or somebody like that. You signed up for this. That's why you get paid millions of dollars.
Fact.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
And I think that's part of the entertainment factor. If these men sign up for this, why can't they? There's several things that are legal that are bad for us that the government lets us do every single day.
Yeah, right. It's true. I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree. Because I think football people, I think with football, like, again, I think with CTE is great because now football players have the decision. And I think with the concussion protocol, stuff like that, they're taking the measures. But I think if you're on the field, you know what you signed up for. I'm not saying hit everyone in the head, no. But I think that if you're getting tackled, you should understand. Listen, running backs have the shortest lifespan of any sport role, right? But they understand as running backs, that's their role. That's their job, is to get hit. So I just feel that we can't be babying these players. They're grown men. So if they sign up for this, let them do what they got to do. But they should also be aware of what can happen long term, which I think that's good that they're actually now kind of revealing that information to players nowadays, right?
So Reno, let me ask you this. You played in high school, right? Have you ever taken a hit that was questionable in your eyes when taking it?
I play on defense, so I've given a hit.
You've given. Okay.
But you see,
perfect.
The thing with that though is there's a misconception. There's a misconception that you giving a hit means you're not receiving trauma at the same time.
Right.
So I've laid people out, and in the process of that, it's been like, I could see why they say it's similar to a small car collision.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've heard about that.
Because the speed, like if you know what it sounds like when a safety is running down on a receiver and that ball is coming and you could hear the pressure of the air before you hit the person, it's
Right.
different.
So let
It's
me ask you
different.
this then. You had equipment on when you made that hit.
Yes.
Say you played rugby and you were going to make that you were going to tackle. Would you approach it with that same kind of energy with no equipment?
No, you're right. I wouldn't. And the reason why I wouldn't is because there's something about that space between your shoulder pads and your helmet that when you
Yeah.
just lean in the right way, it's beautiful. It's like the easiest hit ever. Like it's
Right.
just
And also very
it's
effective.
perfect.
But I find too, like some tight ends are only tackled through their legs. Like Travis Kelce, you can't tackle him upper body because he's so big. So for certain receivers, for him, you're not tackling them up there, tackling from the because the legs is their weak spot. So not everyone's tackling up top. It's only running backs who are short they get tackled high. But tight ends, receivers who are tall, they get tackled in their legs because their legs are what kind of is their danger. You know what I mean? Like so anyway, but yeah. It makes sense.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. This NFL rookie QB class we've had, kind of highly touted, I'd say. A lot of, in regards to basketball, we're talking, draft classes, LeBron, Melo, Wade. You know what I'm saying? This one, I think, has some QBs in here. It's pretty deep that, down in the future, we might still be seeing them not fall into backup spots, but actually remain in starting positions. So here's a question I have.
Yeah.
In regards to we're early out in the NFL season, there's some quarterbacks out here. I just want to kind of get your ratings. I'm going to throw some names and just give me a quick rating on what you'd rate them. Okay. So first one, I know he started, but Justin Fields.
Okay, so I'm a Bengals fan. I go down with the ship. So I always let it be known I'm a Bengals fan. So you guys know I've dealt with pain for years.
Bro, enough pain.
Enough. It's a regular thing in this household to be mad, yelling at the screen. That's regular.
Rough. That's rough, man.
But I will say, seeing Andy Dalton come off the field for Fields to go on that field, I'm excited for what he can do. From an explosive standpoint. But what I'm also worried about is that front office is in trouble right now. If they don't perform this year, there's going to be people getting fired in Chicago. So for me personally, I think the pressure is on, and I'd like to see what Fields does. So I'm gonna give him a fairly high rating. I think there's a potential for him to do really good. There's some receivers over there. He has a solid running back. Things could happen for him.
So right now they're 1-1. So and actually I think their defense is actually pretty good too. Bears defense is pretty they're pretty impactful. So out of 10, Reno, out of 10, how much are you giving him out of 10?
Now, is this out of 10 what he's potentially gonna do or the success he's gonna bring the team?
The first
let's go with just him individually.
Individual.
Just him.
These QBs eventually may not stick there. They might move elsewhere. So I just want to get a feel of like what you think of their ability.
8.
8. Okay. How about you, Nelly J?
Fields, I like him. I'm gonna give him a 7 though. A 7.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence.
The golden boy. I'm gonna go 6.
Reason?
That team, sometimes going into the right situation really matters, and that team has not really been good since like Fred Taylor or like Maurice Jones-Drew was on that team.
Right.
It's like I don't know.
But what about him? Forget his team. What about him? His ability? What would you rate him?
Well, his potential is ridiculous. He's just used to winning. You know what I mean? And he's throwing the ball into some tight windows. Like he has the arm. So if we're talking just strictly on capability, I'm gonna give it like a 7.
Living up to the hype. Okay. How about you, Nelly J?
So yeah, I just feel bad for Trevor Lawrence. They're 0-2. I watched the game because they played. I just think like he's been throwing some awful picks though, like he's been some bad throws as well, but he's made some touchdowns. So I do see potential. I just think with the shortened preseason, you can tell some teams were not prepared. And the Jaguars are not prepared to play in the NFL. Yeah, shots fired. So, I will give him actually the same rating as Fields, a 7, only because he's never lost until the NFL. And I think if you can remember, like if you remember my boy Peyton Manning, his first season, he was terrible. Like he lost a lot of games.
Yes.
So, and I feel like
threw a lot of interceptions.
He threw a lot. So I feel like Trevor will be a Peyton Manning-esque. That's why I'll give him a 7, because I think he's going to bounce back after this first year. This first year, I don't think he's going to have a good season, but I think next year he's going to come back strong. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Zach Wilson.
The bum of the week.
Rough.
The bum of the week last week.
Yeah, it's going to be
Shout out the barbershop. Oh, man. Yo, he threw like, what, 5 picks last week? 5? 4? 5?
I think you guys posted a clip of a little kid breaking down the pocket collapsing.
Oh yeah,
Zach Wilson. And it was a great breakdown. That's exactly what's going on. Like no matter how good you are, if that pocket is gonna crumble on you that quickly, no matter how good you are, you need the time in the pocket. Mm-hmm. Any quarterback, like if you see Tom Brady, he just sits in that pocket. And it's just precision throws. He has all the time in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, listen,
yeah, I'm gonna give it like a 4.
A 4.
Wow, Zach Wilson. Wow, he's having a rough. But it's the Jets, guys. Like, let's be real. But the Jets fans were talking a lot of shit. Sorry, a lot of stuff. Preseason, they're like, "Oh, we got Zach Wilson."
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him a 5. A 5.
A 5. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be nice.
Mac Jones.
Ooh, I like Mac. I'm not gonna lie. I like him.
Reno.
That Belichick style, like it's not an easy system to pick up, and we've seen it with Cam Newton, who's extremely talented. Like we've seen it with Chad Johnson when he went over there. Like that system is not an easy system to pick up. There's a lot of like talented people who have gone into that system and just fell off and had to go to another team after the fact. So I don't know. I'm just gonna stick with like a 6.
Really? I'm actually gonna give him an 8, Mac Jones. A whole 8. I'm gonna give him above Trevor. I just think that from what I saw from first week to second week, he had the most improvement out of all of the rookie quarterbacks that I saw. Like the most improved. Like I can tell he was thinking more, he was making smarter decisions. And if he's already improving that quickly in a week, I feel like his intellect, and that's why Belichick drafted him, because his intellect. He's a smart guy. So I'm gonna give him an 8.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give him an 8. Mm-hmm.
All right. On the way out of this, I want to quickly throw in one more. Trey Lance.
Oh, I was waiting for that.
I like Trey. He's my favorite quarterback right now. A rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like a 9.
Yeah, I like
9.
him. 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's my favorite.
The team around him, John Lynch and those guys have put together an amazing team. That team's ready to go.
All right. One and Nelly J with you with Trey.
Yeah, he's a 9 for me. Like, remember when he got drafted? Because he was drafted first, right? Rito? I think in the
no, Trevor Lawrence. Sorry,
he was first, and I think Trey was 2 or 3, whatever 49ers pick was. 2 or 3. But when they drafted Trey Lance, I'm like, 49ers are going to be in the playoffs. Like, he's solid.
Right.
He's a brother, like my black quarterbacks. But no, he's just like, they're already 2-0. He's the only rookie quarterback that has that stat. And he's playing well. So, yeah.
All right. So we just covered 5 QBs, and we're calling this a QB, a very deep QB draft class. So I'm going to ask you this on the way out. Just give me a name. 5 years down the road. Because the QBs, it usually takes about 2 years from they hit their stride, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give me a name. Who's going to be the one? Who's going to be the LeBron of this class?
Trey Lance.
Yeah, I'm going with Trey. That's easy for me. Yeah.
Well said. I'm rolling.
You rolling with Trey? Yeah. I like Trey. I like Trey. But I'll say a close second, and I'm gonna predict that Trevor Lawrence, if the Jaguars can't give him the pieces, he's out of there. He's out of there. And I think, he's out of there. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
All right. So Nelly J, let's go to For the Culture.
For the culture, we like to highlight individuals for the culture. And today, we get to highlight Mr. Casino Rino.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Oh my God. So, Rino, first of all, we're so happy to have you on. You are a pod brother. Okay. So, if y'all don't know, you are the founder and creator of Politics as Usual. Now, first of all, I love that name. So break down to the listeners out there, why the name and why do you want to create your own podcast?
So pretty much the name came from Jay-Z. He had a song on, I believe, Reasonable Doubt.
Yep.
And it was just that energy of like politicking, like on NY early 90s. If you're sitting on the corner or they're on the stoop, they're politicking. Like some people might get it twisted and think for a second by the name, like we're literally talking about politics like Trudeau and stuff like that. But it's more just the art of politicking, like what it was for those people on the corner when hip hop was first building in the Bronx, like that energy. So we just wanted to be like barbershop talk, but more in the streets, and not even in the streets from an ignorant perspective. It's just the streets in those days. You would have the brother that's preaching the good word. You'd have all different walks of life. You'd have people that are doing the worst of things. You'd have the mother that's struggling, trying to make it happen. The kid bouncing the ball, trying to become a star. And we're just there watching it all, politicking about it. We're looking. It's
funny.
No, continue.
No, sorry. You go. The floor is yours.
I was just pretty much laying it out that we're in a position where our opinion matters. You guys are here giving your opinion, and it matters. You have an audience. People are listening to you. And when you command that type of attention, there's a certain responsibility that you have, and that's giving good content. So I just kind of loved the hustle of it. I love the idea that someone wants to give me their time. Just like you guys' podcast. Like I love sitting there and on Instagram, I'm like, oh shoot, they're talking about this, they're talking about that, jump in the comments. And then you guys will jump in the comments over something I'm talking about. Like it's the camaraderie with it too. It's the team building. Like we don't share a podcast together, but I feel like we're all a podcast family. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's kind of what got me really into it. But the whole name essentially came from the Jay-Z Reasonable Doubt.
Right. I felt that right from rip. So it's funny. Every time I hear, or actually, so when I seen it, and actually I can't say politics as usual. I have to say politics as usual. You know, because just by the track itself. So right when I seen it, I knew exactly your lane and where you're going through. Right. So I think that's so clever. Shout out. I just want to shout out actually. Your TD.
Yes.
TD.
Capo,
but I by his Instagram name, it's Davy.
Yes.
Davy, is it Jones? Davy Jones, right?
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of different aliases. So
right.
It's okay.
Like, there's a lot of need.
There's so many things going on at once. So I don't even feel any ways about it. There's like 30 different names.
Yeah, but you guys definitely have a good vibe when I take in the pod. So in regards to your content, it's very much you touch upon different things. Like we're mainly a sports and culture. Your culture lane also definitely a lot of music. Now, and I noticed by what you guys are speaking, it's a lot of old Toronto.
Yes,
very much ingrained in the culture of what you're speaking.
Of course.
Hold up, like please for those who don't know, please define old Toronto.
Oh, sorry.
Because you can't just say a term and not define that, bro.
Old Toronto.
What do you mean by old Toronto?
Oh, well, I'm talking just a range from like, you know, the talk Drake, new, and then I'm talking like old Toronto, like Socrates, Choclair, Jellystone, Cardinal. You know, just that whole early, you know, mid 90s, late 2000s, which is a shout out to you guys also, because when I'm actually very much impressed that you guys either that time was very young for you. But when I look at you guys don't seem like that's kind of your age frame. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, were you guys really young at that time?
Of course, but it was different when you have to run home from school to catch BT freestyles in the basement and catch low. Like, it's different. Like, it's not like now where I could just pick up my phone and stream something off Spotify, right? Like, I had to be on time. I had to show up for something. I had to be on time for 106 in Park, right? So it's like that kind of forced you to really take in certain things. So it's like I know a wide array of music. We could go to like international music. I listen to everything because there was scheduled programming before. I couldn't go on YouTube and choose exactly what I wanted to watch.
Like, no, I'm saying like we're spoiled right now. We're so spoiled.
Oh, it's crazy.
Back for those who don't know, back in the day, like you had to rush home to watch stuff. If you played sports, you had to be like, oh man, yo, mom, record that for me. I can't, you know what I mean? Enough VCR recording. Like it was a thing.
Of course. So yeah, that's pretty much what it was. I just, from very young, I was into like heavy lyrics because these kids, it's more of like the Young Thugs, the Lil Baby, where it's like, it's more of a vibe as opposed to the lyrics. Not to say that they don't spit. Like some of these guys are spitting some lyrics. Whether we see it as that, it is that. You know what I mean? Because everybody has their own perception of things. So if the masses are catering to it, saying, hey, that is what it is, regardless of us dudes that are spoiled from the 90s, us fellas and ladies that are spoiled from the 90s always have that look at the game where it's like, could be better, could be more lyrical.
You know what? Like, that's why I love my Kendricks, the J. Cole's. Like, there's a few, folks out there, Talib Kweli, like, they're out there, but it's just, like, not in the mainstream. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they're not mainstream artists. So that kind of thing, the kind of arts you can find. But, Kendrick and J. Cole, because they're lyricists, they drop albums every, like, 5 years, man. Like, they don't drop albums every other year. You know what I mean?
But in the 90s, you couldn't take 5 years off.
No.
Good point.
You couldn't take 5 years off. You couldn't take 2 years off.
Right.
You took 2 years off, you're cold. DMX dropped 2 albums in 1 year, 3 albums in 2. Come on.
Yes, it's true. I think 50 Cent too, and Ja Rule. I remember, they always dropped albums quite quickly. Well, question for you, because, like, I think a lot of people who start podcasts, they don't really last, right? And I think it's good for people to hear someone like you, who's, I think, you're season 2 now? Like,
oh, we actually don't even go by seasons. We're just running, but we're just
running out whatever. So like you're 50 something, right? Like you're 50 something. I saw. What number are you at now?
As of this week, it'll be 51.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yo, congratulations!
That's huge.
50 mark.
I appreciate it.
The 50 mark. So what helped you, like? Because I know the first 5 episodes are always tough. So what helped you get like to push past the first 12 or 15 or 20 to get to 50? What was it that you did that helped you, reach that milestone?
It was just being consistent, even when it didn't seem like I was consistent. So like there was a certain, like before we even started recording, I was talking about I had a moment where I had to take a hiatus for a little bit and like work on the aesthetics of the podcast because I just wanted the visuals to be a certain way. And I find anybody who wants to do this podcast thing, you can't do it with the outlook of you're going to just blow up overnight. You're just going to drop some content and boom, you're going to be the hottest thing ever. No. You got to keep build your core audience. And it's as simple as picking up your phone, downloading Anchor, and getting your podcast going. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. You got to find your niche. What is that one thing you're going to talk about? Like, for example, we got 2 minorities, and I hate this term, but in the world, in the world, they would say minorities talking about sports that are on a broadcasting level with the Good Rookies podcast. You got to understand what that is. That's a niche. That's something that's not out there. Like that's why Stephen A. Smith is getting paid all those dollars. You know what I mean? Like it's finding what that thing is that makes you unique, that you genuinely want to talk about, and then you just bring it to life.
Right. So that's one thing, and you know, enough respect for acknowledging what we're doing.
Of course.
But now when I flipped to your podcast, so you have TD, you have Capo, and you have you, right?
Yeah.
The three now, myself and Nelly J, we go back like 10 years. So it's like what's happening here, this is organic. This isn't like two people who've met and said, hey, you know, we want to do a podcast. This is just us. I get that same vibe with you guys. Can you guys kind of quickly just go over like your genesis story of like how this came about with you three and how you guys built your dynamic? Because before you answer, I want to mention, I can see you're the lead mic, right? TD, what I think would be the second most speaking one, and then I guess Capo is the one who kind of picks his spots, right? But you guys, when you have three people speaking, you guys are all in tune as one, like one solid conversation, which feels organic, almost like no cameras there. So if you just want to kind of get into how you guys got this started.
How we started the podcast, or how we met? How we started the okay, so how we started the podcast was I'd be at work and I'd be listening to like Vlad TV interviews, and like I was just like nonstop. I was always watching that. I'd watch Breakfast Club, like, and it got to a point where sometimes I'd hear their opinions, and I'd have an opinion in my mind where I'm like, Charlemagne's bugging right now. Like, I have a hot take on what he's talking about. Like, if I was up there, I'd be torturing Charlemagne. And after dealing with that for like a couple months, eventually I'm like, I should do this. I should do this myself. So I slept on the idea. I didn't even like bring it up to nobody. I just chilled. I sat on the idea for about a couple months. And then these weird things started happening where I'd meet random people and they'd be like, your voice, you should do something with your voice. And I'm like, okay, that's odd. Then the next person, you should do broadcasting. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. Like, why does this keep coming up? And eventually I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I got fed up. I think I was watching like Charlemagne and a Tekashi interview, and I just lost my mind. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it myself. So I ended up calling Capo, and I was like, would you do a podcast? And he's like, yeah, shoot, I would do it. And then after, I kept seeing TD downtown, and every time we seen each other, we'd have these epic discussions and these debates back and forth. And I'm like, I love that we don't agree, and it doesn't have to be like bad blood after, because we really disagree. Like, anybody who tunes into our podcast knows that me and him disagree on a lot of things. But at the end of the podcast, it's like nothing happened. We keep it going. So I pretty much chose both of them because I knew that Capo is going to be witty and drop lines out of nowhere, and you're going to be like, whoa, what? What did he just say? And I know that when the time comes, he'll jump and take lead, or that certain times will come, TD will take lead, or I'll be the villain today, but then he's the villain next week. So when I kind of realized that there was a dynamic there, I was like, yeah, let's do it.
I love it. Nice. It's funny because with him and I always say there's some topics where he's violent, like he's extremely violent, and some topics where I'm extremely violent. So like you need people that are like, you know, can kind of offset each other. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
I totally get that. So I want to obviously, before we end for the culture, I gotta shout out your actually clothing line company, RWA Anime Merch. So I actually started watching Naruto this year. I didn't even know about Naruto, and like Reno, at one point people call me, I'm like, guys, I'm watching Naruto, don't talk to me. Like, it was bad. I'm not as crazy as before, but I'm on the, oh my gosh, I'm so far back behind, but I'm on like the war. I think the Ninja War. Shinobi War. I'm on that, and it's lit. But I've been busy, so I haven't really caught up to it. But anyway, sorry, anime talk. But yes, please talk about your RWA brand for us.
You guys do your research. I like how you guys move. You guys do your research. You guys threw me a curveball. I like that one. I didn't expect that. That's a good one. So pretty much I've always been an anime fan, and I was like one of those art kids where I was drawing from young, drawing animes. Like, I always loved that stuff. So I ended up getting into this entrepreneurship program called BizStart, where I pretty much learned how to start your own business from scratch. And that's how I created the whole politics as usual thing. Like I kind of honed my skills in that class. And within the process of doing that, I learned about merch, drop shipping, things of that nature. And I was like, you know what? Let me dabble in this and like occasionally do drop little 1-2 here and there and just make a little bit of passive income. So I mainly tapped into it because I knew it was something I loved, and creatively I could just bring certain things to life. So I'm like, why not do it? And as I gain more traction with this podcast and other ventures, it'll just gain more attention, draw more attention over there.
Right. You can cross promote. So that's good.
Yeah.
We like it. Well, y'all, hopefully, you know what? I'm going to try. I want to get a merch. So I'm going to check out your store. Everybody check out his store. It's on his Instagram. We're going to have the link to the store and his podcast and to Reno. So you can keep in contact, follow, support Black ownership, Black creators. Awesome.
Of course, and I appreciate that 100%.
No problem. No problem. I for him.
All right. So let's go to the last topic, which is that's absurd.
That's absurd for him, bro. What will be absurd this week? What was absurd?
Pascal Siakam, please step up. Pascal,
come to the plate, Pascal Siakam. Come to the plate.
Pascal Siakam. As we know, he got a max contract. And he was not feeling that he was being appreciated of being a franchise guy. The remarks he made is, let's see, this is exactly, I want to give him a quote. It just boils down to, quote, I never really felt like I was the guy, end quote. Absurd.
I'm playing my violin for Siakam. You can't hear it. Because it's absurd. Absurd.
He said he never felt like he was the guy.
Yes.
Then why did we pay him all those dollars?
Right. So it goes, we paid him the dollars. And I guess his point is he's saying Toronto pretty much paid me these dollars, but never had faith in me to be a number one franchise guy. Now, I understand. I like his ambition. But to think, remember, we had Kyle Lowry at the time. We still have Fred VanVleet, and they were max players also. So to kind of give context to what he's saying, I'd have to say Pascal, now that Kyle's gone, there's one less person that you have to worry about to be a franchise guy. But when you're getting paid franchise dollars, you kind of expect franchise performance. And that's
it's true.
So sometimes you have to be careful what you ask for, because he's had to put on a little bit extra pressure. And from what we've seen of him being that guy, we're kind of now going to expect, since we're paying you that and you're expecting to be that, you got to show up and be that guy, or else.
Okay. Siakam, you were never that guy. You were never that guy. You are, you're a second option. The first option is Fred for me. Fred VanVleet, your second option. Until you can perform in the playoffs, you are like a subpar DeRozan. I'm not even entertaining these comments.
Oh, Reno.
Subpar, DeRozan. Go ahead, Reno. Go ahead.
I agree. 100%. Like you gotta we love to look towards these franchises as fans and go, oh, they're not giving this player a chance. But at the end of the day, your gameplay is what leads people to believe you're the guy.
Right.
It has nothing to do with, oh, they never believed in me to be. No. You're supposed to play so well that there's no doubting you're the guy.
Yeah.
That
means that it's still up for debate.
Yes.
And also, no offense, I feel like I don't see, like when Freddie plays, he plays with his heart. Like even when he's off, he's playing with his heart. Like he's intense, he's passionate. Siakam looks like a lost puppy sometimes on the court. Like he looks lost, and he's also known to be very emotional off the court, which then goes on the court. Like, how about you manage your emotions, manage your mentality, get a coach? Because his issue is his mental game. It sucks. And to me, listen, the guys who are that guy, those comments aren't made. because they are that guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of just.
And also on top of that, when they're not, they're like, you know what, Toronto, that's all me. Next year I'm gonna come hard, I'm gonna kill it. Like they talk. Siakam, you don't talk that talk, bro. So don't act like you're that guy. I'm sorry. Go ahead, so go ahead, Fahim.
Oh no! So on the way out, I just want to say this because we've been very hard on Pascal.
Not hard. We're just saying we're bringing him down to earth, right? The realism of who situation. That's all it is. Because guess what, y'all? I think Gary Trent Jr. is gonna might even. I'm just saying.
Keep in mind, there was a time, and I just want to be fair because I don't want to use this as an excuse just to dump on Pascal. The bubble season, so 2 years ago, for the first half of the season before the bubble, Pascal Siakam was in MVP talks. Let's put some respect on his name for what he did there. At the, like before the bubble,
that was like 2 years ago before COVID, guy. I can't think back that far.
Hold on, I'm just saying, COVID. I'm just saying.
1994. There was a good.
No. There was a time when Pascal Siakam was in MVP talks. He was really balling.
I remember having doing this.
I remember having conversations saying, "Who do you think is better, Jason Tatum or Pascal Siakam?" This is before the bubble. Like, let's be real. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No. But Fahim, you're the guy. You're the one who fully said, Janelle, Siakam has reached his peak. He will never be good again. You told me that in January. Don't tell me now. Let's put some respect. Back in 1995, Pascal was a good. Like, yeah, get out of here. You're the one who said that. I said Pascal hasn't peaked yet. You said he did what he did, and he's done. Right. Okay, let's be nice to Pascal today. Get that. Yo, not be nice. Rito, this guy, Rito, this dude, dude, right?
Okay. So, and the bubble came, and he hasn't been the same since the bubble, and his stock has really dropped, right? So,
but is the bubble like an excuse?
No, but
because everybody else was still playing.
Also, I heard
that Siakam, get your point.
But I heard that Siakam had some off-court issues with his girlfriend. That was what happened in the bubble, right? And
alleged.
I'm not saying I went to jail. I'm saying that's what I heard. So the other day, Siakam, do your thing and come in the court and play basketball. Don't have off-court issues or drama. No, it's been known. His family, she was there. She was in Orlando, and she distracted him. I'm not alleged only for like when someone goes to jail, guy. I'm not charging him. I'm just saying, get your things in order, okay, and play on the court. Don't have off-court distractions affect your on-court game. That's the problem with these young players. That's all.
Close us out. Reno, anything else you want to with Pascal?
Honestly, just let your gameplay speak for you. He has a lot of potential. I don't want to take that away from him, but if everybody's playing ball at the same time and you're still not in the conversation as one of those guys, you can't expect to be treated as one of those guys.
Facts.
Because I think as not even to kind of go on too long about this, but I think as Raptor fans, we have this allegiance to the team where sometimes we're gonna attribute more to, like, we're gonna give more to this person, even though we know in the grand scale of things, the league is not talking about it like that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Right.
You're right.
No, that's true.
And what I will say is that Siakam, we like you in Toronto. If you want to be that guy, perform in the playoffs. That's it. I don't care what happens between the regular season. When the playoff hits, don't be doing 2 spin moves the entire game. Change up your game. Work on the off season. Why are you laughing? Work on your offense in the off season and show me that you deserve to be that guy. Because the two moves you have on the court is not enough. Sorry.
Okay, let me balance this out. Pascal Siakam today, it's been announced that Pascal Siakam has donated $100,000 to the Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital Foundation.
Nice. Good job, Pascal. That's
for his
amazing.
PS43 Foundation.
That's huge.
So
amazing.
Shout out to
he does a lot
Pascal.
of things for the kids. For the kids,
beautiful.
He does.
Great for the community.
Yes.
You know, so.
Yo, who's this Fahim guy? Yo, Reno. I'm gonna send you the episodes, guy. He was going off on Siakam. I'm gonna send him a scene. This is crazy to me. Absolutely freaking insane. Absolutely insane. You know what? I think Fahim forgot because the NBA has Raptor played since May. I think once he sees him play again, he might get bro, Reno. This guy went off. Anyways.
And the reason why I kept laughing is because I'm seeing it in your face. You're registering it. Like, I heard him talk about this.
Who's this guy? Yo, listen, I've defended Pascal all year. The one day when I'm actually being real, he's like, let's remind ourselves that in 1995, he had great like, what the hell?
I'm just trying not to lay it on too thick. You know, I'm not trying to kill his confidence, you know? So
no,
we need him. We need him. So
yes. We do need him. And my issue's not with him. My issue with that comment. Like, you're not a franchise player. That's all. You're not that guy. And if you want to be, go get it. Like, it's like, there's a trophy. Go and get it. Work hard and make it happen. Like, I'm not going to cuddle that guy.
And we'll close it with that, because I like that right there, what you said. If you want to, go get it. And that's true.
Go get it, Siakim.
Pascal, you want to be that guy, go get it. Take it from who's ever trying to take it from you. Right. If Freddie's trying to take it from you,
take it from Freddie.
You must take it from Freddie.
Yeah,
absolutely.
If Scotty's trying to take it from you, take it from Scotty.
I like Scotty though. I like Scotty.
Shout out to Scotty Barnes.
So Scotty Barnes is in the streets. Oh man, sorry.
All right, let's close out this episode. Let's put this episode in the books.
Episode 58. Hey, y'all. So as you know, we love to give our special guests a chance to do a shout out. So Rino, the floor is yours.
I just want to shout out my whole team, everybody that helps bring the production to life. I want to shout out Capo. I want to shout out TD as my co-host, holding it down 50 episodes plus now. Steady, you know what I mean? And I definitely want to shout out the Good Rookies podcast. I want to shout out the Big O podcast. Ooh. I want to shout out the Bando Banter podcast. There's a lot of podcasts out there that are solid in the city. And remember, at the beginning of this pandemic, everybody wanted to do a podcast and everybody was doing one. And only a few are still here. Mm-hmm. And those are some of the ones I mentioned. So everybody in the city that's listening to this, make sure you tap into all those podcasts. If you're not subscribed to the Good Rookies podcast, you better subscribe. I don't know what you're doing. You're playing around. And
what are you doing?
If you want to see some content of me and TD going crazy and Koppel throwing me some alleys like Jason Kidd to Vince Carter, tune into the Politics as Usual podcast. You know what I mean? But make sure you show both of these two much love. And I really appreciate them for bringing me on.
Oh, nice. Man. Enough love, yo. So my shout out is to Rino. Politics as usual. I'm gonna be a Fahim. Usual. But no, real talk, great podcast. Episode 51. That is insane. That's massive. That's huge. Keep on working hard and shout out to your RWA Inc. I'm gonna get me some anime merch because I like me some anime. So thanks for being here, Rino. Honestly, it was a vibe. We'll definitely have you on again. We're talk about NFL playoffs.
Please do.
Absolutely.
I'll be ready to talk.
Talk that stuff. Yes. My other shout out is actually to a young queen. Her name is Latasha Lattimore. We posted her on our social media today. So she is actually the first hashtag NIL marketing deal with Tasha Lattimore ever in Canada. My girl is now, I think she's playing for the Texas Longhorns, which is the NCAA team.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And y'all, like, we have, like, if you have not seen her tapes, watch her tapes. People are saying that she's compared to Candace Parker.
Wow.
Okay.
That's big. That's
big
huge.
That's good.
They call her super athletic. Her name's a Silent Killer and Baby KD. That's her nicknames, y'all. So please check her out. Her thank you for On Point Basketball for sharing her story, because without them, we wouldn't have known about it. So thank you. Big up, Drew. But Latasha Lattimore, my shout outs to you. Big up, Queen. I hope you kill it in NCAA, and hopefully we can win a medal in the Olympics in 2 years or 3 years, whatever it comes up.
All right, I'm gonna keep it quick. So yeah, first of all, shout out Casino Rino. Great having you on. Have to have you back. Definitely during the playoffs of NFL, we have to do it up. Want to shout out Politics as Usual, the podcast, TD, and also Capo. Apologize for the brain fart before, but enough respect. And I want to shout out Big O also. Big O podcast, Julian Ortiz. That's the connect. I think that between us all, we're all from Toronto and doing it up, and we have to support each other. So
100%.
Absolutely.
check out all podcasts, and let's put this episode in the books. And Jay.
Absolutely. I'm gonna be for him. Absolutely.
I definitely pull up to the podcast. I gotta have you guys on. 100%.
Oh yes, man. Let us
Okay.
know when. You know, I'm gonna come with the
100%.
spice. Tell your friend them. Tell your friend them. Me not come no weak thing. But y'all, it's episode 58. If you had a good time, come please. Click on that like, subscribe, tell a friend, comment. And of course, don't forget, before you comment and like us, subscribe to Politics as Usual as well. Fahim.
That's right. You know where to look if you're looking for us, you know where to find us on all platforms, and also Politics as Usual. Also, you know, the platforms, Reno, platforms you're on all of them, correct?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Enough said. Episode 58 in the books, and that's Good Rookies Podcast, and we out.
Peace.
You're